Look at any photo of the Philippines and you will see paradise. But look closer and you will notice something else. People who have learned to dance with danger, to rebuild after ruin, and to live where the world itself refuses to stay still. This is the contradiction of the Philippines, a paradise sculpted by the very powers that can shatter it in seconds. Why does this nation exist in such delicate tension between wonder and disaster? And what does this geography reveal about the people who call it home? Today we are venturing into the hidden forces that built these islands, the violent collisions that forged them, the storms that reshaped them, the volcanoes that breathe beneath their soil, and the people who have learned to thrive in a landscape that can turn against them without warning. By the end of this video, you will never look at the Philippines or any paradise through the same eyes again. Before we journey any further, make sure you hit subscribe, because the story we are uncovering today is only the beginning. You will not want to miss what the next chapter of this planet has to reveal. To understand these islands, we must return millions of years to an Earth still assembling its shape. Imagine guiding a small island community. But the island itself never settles. It rises and sinks, splits apart, and reforms as drifting continents grind and collide. 50 million years ago, the land that would become the Philippines was shattered by the clash of massive tectonic plates. Chunks of crust were pushed, smashed, and fused again into a chain of islands. From this turmoil emerged an archipelago rather than a continent. Thousands of islands scattered like stepping stones across the Pacific. Each fragment became its own isolated world, shaped by water and born from violent origins. But this creation placed the Philippines inside the Pacific Ring of Fire, a territory of erupting mountains, quaking earth, and storms fed by warm seas. The Philippines exists because the planet moves, and within that motion lies both its beauty and its danger. On maps, the country looks small, a spray of dots across a vast blue ocean, but the truth is large. The islands stretch over 300,000 square kilometers, more than many nations. Placed over Europe, the archipelago would swallow the United Kingdom and Ireland. From Luzon's northern tip to Mindanao's southern edge, the distance is greater than California's length. And the islands, over 7,600 of them, are each separated by waterways that produce distinct dialects, customs, and ways of life. This fractured geography makes unity an ongoing challenge. Where other countries are linked by roads, the Philippines is stitched together by sea routes. To govern the nation is to piece together thousands of local histories into one story. Isolation also created life found nowhere else. Picture a tarsier clinging to a belette tree, its enormous eyes shining in the dark. Imagine coral reefs bursting with colors so vivid they look painted, home to thousands of species weaving through caves of stone and light. More than 50,000 species inhabit these islands, and half exist in no other place on Earth. Volcanoes that once erased villages now feed the land with nutrients, giving rise to dense forests. Rivers carve through mountains, creating ecosystems as distinct as signatures. Each island became a sealed laboratory where evolution ran its own experiments. Scientists see the Philippines as a window into how life adapts and survives under isolation and pressure. But paradise has become livelihood. Millions of travelers arrive each year chasing postcard dreams. White sands in Boracay, limestone towers in El Nido, the rolling surf of Siargao. In 2023 alone, more than 5 million international visitors poured nearly ½ trillion pesos into the economy. Entire towns depend on this flow. Fishermen lead tours, farmers rent rooms, children learn to greet strangers from around the world. Tourism is survival, but it is fragile. Reefs break under careless hands, beaches shrink under constant storms, airports and hotels are rebuilt again and again after each typhoon. The same geography that fuels prosperity can erase it overnight. Then the storms come. About 20 typhoons strike the Philippines every year, 5 of them strong enough to scar entire provinces. Imagine living in a home visited by 20 unwanted guests annually, some rattling the windows, others tearing off the roof. For Filipinos, this is no metaphor. Families board up homes, store rice and candles, and wait as seas turn violent. When the winds quiet, they step into flooded streets, broken power lines, and houses stripped bare. Schools become evacuation centers. Children learn emergency drills as naturally as arithmetic. Destruction and rebuilding become the rhythms of life. What looks unbearable to outsiders becomes routine to those who live here. The reason lies in the map. The Philippines sits squarely on the Ring of Fire, a zone of restless crust and awakening volcanoes. Warm seas fuel monstrous storms, Magma pushes upward to build mountains of ash and stone. Nearly 300 volcanoes rise across the archipelago. 24 are active. To live here is to accept that the land itself is temporary. More than 20,000 earthquakes shake the country each year, most too small to feel. But every Filipino remembers those that were not. Cities leveled in minutes, rivers diverted, coastlines rewritten. Elsewhere, a catastrophic earthquake is a rare event. Here it is a constant possibility. And still people wake, work, laugh, rebuild because life cannot pause for fear. Volcanoes reinforce this truth. Mayon's perfect cone is both postcard and warning. Taal, small yet fierce, can ignite with little notice. Over 4 centuries, more than 40 major eruptions have scarred the land. Ash destroys farms and homes, but later enriches the soil, making it extraordinarily fertile. Communities rebuild in the shadows of volcanoes not only because they must, but because danger and renewal have always been part of life here. Through storms, quakes, and eruptions, one thread binds the islands, resilience woven into daily living. Homes rise again within weeks. Schools are converted overnight into shelters. Neighbors share food when supplies run thin. Filipinos do not merely endure disasters, they incorporate them into the rhythm of existence. But resilience is not evenly shared. Wealth creates invisible walls of safety, and poverty leaves families exposed. A single storm can erase decades of savings in rural villages. Fishermen lose boats and entire livelihoods. Meanwhile, those with means rebuild faster or relocate. Geography here is political. It magnifies inequality and decides who rebuilds with concrete and who rebuilds with scraps. In Tacloban, survivors of Typhoon Haiyan still speak of the night when waves taller than buildings swept entire neighborhoods away. Yet in the aftermath, people built shelters from shattered lumber. Children studied at improvised desks under open skies. Markets reopened beside ruins. These stories are both grief and defiance, evidence that life continues despite the odds. Walk through a Philippine festival and you'll see this spirit on display. An explosion of color and music in streets that may have flooded months earlier. Joy becomes resistance. Celebration becomes survival. Beauty and danger coexist everywhere. Coastlines adored by tourists also bear the brunt of storm surges. Forests harbor rare species, yet remain vulnerable to landslides. Coral reefs that dazzle divers are fractured by typhoon waves. Today, climate change sharpens these contradictions. Seas rise, swallowing shorelines. Warmer oceans produce stronger, more destructive storms. Droughts hit unfamiliar provinces, and floods drown farmlands overnight. The Philippines stands at the front line of a shifting planet. What happens here is not isolated. It is a preview of challenges the world will face. Step back, and the Philippines becomes more than dots scattered across an ocean. It becomes a reflection of life on an unstable Earth. It is a reminder that beauty and danger shape cultures, economies, and identities. An archipelago forged by motion, sustained by resilience, and defined by the people who choose to call a changing paradise home. For Filipinos, it is a call to persist, adapt, and rebuild without surrendering joy. For the world, it is a warning. The seas and storms of these islands will one day reach other shores. Yet, within this fragile balance lies a profound lesson. We cannot control geography, but we can learn from it. The Philippines teaches that resilience is possible, but it comes at a price. Survival is possible, but never guaranteed. So, the next time you see a sunlit Philippine beach, look deeper. Behind that beauty stand generations of people living on the edge of wonder and ruin, proving through quiet strength that endurance itself is an act of defiance.